Welcome back to Margaritas in Paradise. Today I'm out on Soy Diana. I'm at Harry's and I'm having dinner, and I have a couple things to talk to you about. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so today I'm going to talk to you about the reasons not to move to Thailand. Yeah, exactly. And you know I love Thailand, so they have to be really good things for me to tell you about and for you to think about, consider prior to moving to Thailand. Because, you know, there are things that you should be considering. All right, so the number one thing to remember about Thailand is they speak Thai here. You have a language barrier. And, you know, if you're in Pattaya, for instance, or Bangkok, or Chiang Mai, or Phuket, or any of the major tourist areas, you can expect to have no problems, especially if you know English or Chinese or something like that. The basic languages that everybody knows are spoke well all over these areas. But when you travel into the village area and you start looking at places, then you're looking at using Google Translate and things like that. But that's not to say that if you're preparing to come to Thailand, that maybe you should learn some basic Thai. You know, learn how to say hello, sawasdee krap, how to say goodbye, sawasdee krap, or thank you, khop kun krap, or if you want something, homao, or my ao, for I do not want. And just things like that, basic numbers, all right? And then you can count them out and this, that, and the other. But the more you know of the Thai language, the more impressed the Thai people are. They're going to be more impressed here. So just use that, some common sense, and have fun. That's the main thing. If you come here, you have to have fun. Keep a positive attitude. Traffic is bad. And you know, places like Bangkok, it's going to be horrible, absolutely horrible. Now, even if you're walking out here, you need to walk with your head on a swivel, okay? I'm on a one-way road, but does that mean traffic's always only going one way? No way. And you know, most of the big vehicles, cars and that sort of thing, are going one way. But motorbikes or these little vendor carts and that type of stuff, they go any way they can, okay? They use the one way as a guideline. So, and you're out walking, and you're walking into traffic is one thing. But on this street, you're probably going to be walking at one point. If you're going this way, you're going to be walking with traffic. And you want to know what's behind you. The last thing you want to do is to have somebody have to call up your relatives in whatever country you're from and say that you're an idiot and walked out in front of a truck. So, and remember this, even though Thailand does have a pedestrian law now, not everybody knows about it or even agrees with it. So, again, don't do something you're going to regret later on. Now, you go a step further and decide to drive a car or ride a motorbike. Again, you have to do those things carefully. You have to think about what you're doing. If you come to Thailand, make sure you get an international driver's license, because I guarantee your driver's license in whatever country you're from is not good enough. You need an international driver's license. If you're going to ride a motorbike, wear a helmet. The police are out all over the place, and they target guys without a helmet. And anymore, well, it used to be they'd only target foreigners, but anymore they target everybody. So wear a helmet. Do yourself a favor, wear a helmet. All right, so now check this out. I'm here eating the schnitzel with French fries and mushroom gravy for 99 baht. I put the ketchup in the gravy bowl, but for the French fries. But it's a big serving, and you have to figure now this is about a $3 meal. I'll tell you what, it's not going to disappoint. I've only eaten here a couple different times, but it's not going to disappoint. Definitely check it out. This is in no particular order, okay, as priority or anything like that. But property ownership. You can't own property in Thailand. Now we're talking about land in general, okay? So you can own a condo, for instance, but you can't own the land the condo's on. And you can only own up to 49% of a condo building. And the other 51% has to be Thai owned. Now there is a law that's being suggested in place, but that's going to take probably years to kind of go through. But even with that, the voting rights is going to be still at 49% foreign. And if this new law does go through, where they're talking about giving property ownership to up to 75% in a condo building to foreign ownership, only 49% is going to have a say of what goes on in that building. So there's going to be more to come about that, and I think we're years out before that change actually happens. But as far as owning land's concerned, you know, lots of foreigners come here and buy homes. What they do is they form a Thai company. The company owns the home. Just kind of keep that in mind. I won't get heavily involved in that. If you have a question about that, check a legal page here in Thailand, and they'll give you more information about that for sure. All right, so number 4, you're not Thai, okay? You have no rights here. I'm telling you what, I've heard it before, I've seen it before. It's like somebody getting involved in a traffic accident, a foreigner versus a Thai. Now, more than likely, they're going to look at it, unless it's just plain so obvious. If it's questionable at all, they'll say, well, if you weren't here, being the foreigner, if you weren't here, it would have never happened. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind. You know, if you decide that for whatever reason you want to get into a fight, most foreigners are not going to back you up. I'm just telling you, they're just probably not going to back you up. But if you're fighting with a Thai person, every Thai person around is going to back him up. You're going to have a gang on you like you ain't going to believe. And if you don't believe me, you search back a couple months, some guys down on Soy 6 that were just being stupid. And that's what happened. And I'm not saying what happened to them was right. I'm just telling you, it happened. So you have to take care of yourself. And you're not Thai, okay? Come here with that attitude. All right. Number 5, the weather. Oh, so it's hot here. You know, it's definitely hot here. And right now we're in monsoon season. And monsoon season basically runs about May until about October 15th time frame. And beyond October 15th, right before Halloween, starts up the high season, okay, which is your winter season. It's dry, less rain, that type of stuff. And that runs all the way, I would say October 15th to maybe February or so, something like that. You're gonna have temperatures that are gonna drop down into the 70s, and that's when I have to wear a hoodie. So, it's fact, it gets cold here. I feel like I'm freezing to death, and you know what I mean. So, but I'm used to it being warm. I like the warm temperatures. And then beyond that, March and April time frame, you have the season, and it starts to get very hot, get really hot. This year was extremely hot. 100-degree temperatures every day, high humidity. So the weather here is unforgivable, okay? It's unpredictable. We have weather forecasters here that will forecast, and they do the best they can, okay? But I would say, you know, in the U.S., they're pretty close to being on, to be right. Here, they're probably 50% of the time right. If they say it's going to rain, there's no given time when it's going to rain. It's interesting, and you'll see what I mean. So, number 6, pollution. We're going to hold it right there. I'm going to get a little bit to eat, and I'll be right back to you. I'm going to put it on the street and let you watch what's going on there. Holiday street views. So this is Soy Diana, and I'll tell you what, this schnitzel is really good. Have a little bit of rain going on, so there's not very many people out on the streets. A little dog. Wow, cop. Now, if you haven't done so already, please check out the description box below. It'll be the location of where Harry's is located on Soy Diana, and other money-saving tips as well. There'll be links in there. So we're back to it, and I'll have to tell you, that schnitzel was fantastic. I think they use like a wine base. I'm not sure in the breading. It was fantastic. Back to pollution. So Thailand has just a horrible reputation for air quality. Okay. Now, I don't want you to get me wrong. The air quality here is horrible, but it's horrible during a certain period of the year mainly. Other than that, like today, it was just fantastic. Okay, it was probably as good as Los Angeles. Now, I did look up Los Angeles today, and it was rated a 5 on the AQI. So that is similar to probably St. Louis or Chicago or even Detroit for that fact. It'll be very similar. Anything under a 50 in the AQI, the air quality index meter, anything under 50 is considered good or safe. And it gets into, there's like a yellow zone above that, and then there's like a red zone, and then there's even a really black zone that's like death. Anyway, you don't want to be in that zone. But sometimes Thailand is in the very high zones. It rates sometimes the most polluted air in the world, okay? And that's mainly in Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai in northern Thailand. It has to do with the burning season that takes place basically in January, February, March time frame, and maybe a little bit in April. And so it does happen. But right now, I'm gonna put a couple pictures of screenshots that I took for the AQI over the last month AQI or so, to kind of give you an area in Pattaya. Now, the further south you go, if you get down to Phuket or go out to Koh Chang or these islands out in the ocean, their air is perfectly fine. You get into other types of pollution when you're walking on the beaches, for instance, and you see trash on the beach. I'll tell you, it drives me crazy. I used to go out there and pick it up, and but I had no idea where the trash was really coming from. I was just thinking tourists are going out there on the beach, using the beaches, and they're just leaving trash out there. And I imagine that does happen to a certain extent. But for the most part, the trash comes from the ocean. And you can see that because if you look at the high tide line, or even the low tide line, but the high tide line is dominant. So you'll see where the water washes up to the highest point in a 24-hour period, and there'll be trash all along that line. And so the trash that you see quite a bit of is straws and plastic caps and you know, that type, the small particles, parts of plastic bags, that stuff that's been chewed up. But there is other trash like plastic water bottles and things like that that's out there. The nice thing is when you live in a resort area and you have resorts in particular right in the general area that you're in, they're going to send people out there to clean up the beaches every day, probably every morning before you ever wake up, because they want their beaches pristine. They want them to look great for you. All right, so you have to remember that. How you doing, brother? A lot of property owners, they don't really care because it's undeveloped property, and they'll throw trash on the ground. And we see that driving down the roads, the highways, where the sides of the roads will be littered. But I'll tell you what, it is against the law to litter in Thailand. If you get caught by the right person, they're gonna fine you. And again, as a non-Thai, they're gonna fine you heavily, and that's the way it is. All right, so don't keep Thailand beautiful. Thailand's beautiful. This one here, we're gonna put this one as a 6A because it kind of goes in directly with the pollution factor, and it's breathing issues. Now, I can remember 20 years ago when I was first coming to Thailand, and people were wearing surgical masks. And so during the pandemic, when it was mandatory to wear a mask, in Thailand, it was nothing new, all right? Because a lot of Thais were already wearing those masks, and it was because of this AQI index. So breathing quality is a problem. When the air pollution's so bad out that the AQI is, let's say, 150 or 200, you know, the recommendation for that day is to not go outside, to run your air conditioner with a filter on it. Use an air purifier in your condo or home or wherever you're at. And with that being said, air purifiers are rated per meter. So if the air purifier is good for up to 20 meters, then more than likely you're going to need, let's say you have a 40 square meter unit, you're going to need 2 air purifiers. And you may need a lot more than that. So kind of keep that in mind. The thing to remember is the further south you go in Thailand, the better the air quality is. You stay out on the islands, enjoy the islands, the better the air quality is. So, all right, I'm gonna get out of this here. Number 7, construction. Construction is forever here. It's a constant factor in Thailand. And it's just like anywhere else. When they're redoing a road, they take a long time repairing a road to ensure people have jobs, I think. And many times it's a safety factor. You know, there'll be open holes at night because the construction left just like they are. Sometimes they may have some blinking lights out there or barriers around those holes, but there's been times, many times, especially in the back road areas, where there's no markers for these holes and motorbikes just go off into these holes, or cars drop into these big culverts in the middle of the night because they're not marked. And that's something that you have to be careful about when you're driving at nighttime in Thailand. Be aware of the surroundings for sure. Now, if you haven't done so already, please give me a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. There's a bell right next to it for future notification of new videos that are coming out. I'm trying to get a new video out about every 2 days or so, or 3 a week. Please subscribe. I'm trying to build up my channel. It doesn't cost you anything, okay? Please subscribe. All right. All right, a lot more people are coming out. So resisting the Thai culture. Thailand is a Buddhist country, okay? There are other religions in Thailand, there's no doubt about it. Christian, Muslim, and other things as well. But it is a Buddhist country, and they have Buddhist holidays and things like that. It's something that you want to respect. When you come here to Thailand, you want to immerse yourself into the Thai culture and have fun with it. But there's things that you have to realize that is not acceptable in your home, or it's not acceptable in Thailand where it may be acceptable in your home country. And things like what you wear, for instance. When you go to a government building or a temple, you need to wear something respectable, something that's not showing too much skin, for instance, or visa issues. If you're coming here as a tourist, there's a visa on arrival. Right now it's a 30-day, but it's supposed to go to a 60-day visa on arrival. But if you're looking to extend, you can go down to immigration and extend for an additional 30 days. Now, if you're looking at long-term visas, there's things like retirement visas for people that are over 50, there's work visas, volunteer visas, there's all kinds of different things. But I definitely suggest using a visa agent when you're messing around with immigration, okay? A visa agent is gonna cost you a little bit extra, but they're gonna save you time. They're gonna do it the right way the first time, every time. So just kind of keep that in mind, and we'll press on. In Thailand, we have a dual pricing system. There's a system for the Thai price, and there's a system for the foreign price. So let's say the national park system, for instance. The national park system has a Thai price, which may be free, maybe at the most 40 baht for a Thai person to enter. For a foreigner, it may be 200 baht. What's that? 4 times the price of Thai price. But the thing that you definitely can be assured is that if you're a Thai person, you can probably expect that if you go into, let's say, a mom and pop kitchen and order, let's say, pad Thai, a noodle dish that's pretty famous here in Thailand, and a Thai may be able to get it for, let's say, 25 to 30 baht for the dish, where for me it's probably going to be 40 baht, maybe 50, 60, kind of depending on the area I'm in. You know, they stick it to foreigners the most that they can, and they're gonna ask you to pay the most that they think they can get out of you. Now, for the most part, you're talking about a 60 baht dish of pad Thai is less than $2, okay? Your entire meal, less than $2. It probably comes with drinking water and all the vegetables that you want on the side. So, you know, you just have to kind of think about where in the world can you survive on a meal at $2 per meal, per person. All right. Tip for you today is going to be, prior to coming to Thailand, do not get caught here without notifying your bank, especially a credit card or a debit card, that you're going to be in Thailand. Thailand is, for whatever reason, flagged as one of those destinations with a lot of credit card fraud. And of course, you want to be careful when using your credit card. You want to keep it in a secure place. And but you want to make sure your bank knows that you're here in Thailand and for how long you're going to be here, that you plan on using your credit card or your debit card. All right, that's all I have for you. Definitely check out Harry's, check out the description below. We'll see you in the next video. All right, bye-bye. So if you're curious, my bin was 139 baht. All right, let's go.